Had to bring it back once. Had to bring it back once. Welcome back, everybody, to the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. I'm Chris Witt, and with me, as always, is Mr. Adam Schmidt. How are you today, sir?
I'm great now with the retro intro.
That's right, the old school intro right there, brother. That's going way back.
Love it.
Someday we'll figure out how to make that work again. Adam, it's a beautiful day, man. We had a nice rainy day out there, but the NBA playoffs are starting. They're not starting. The conference finals are starting.
That's right.
Which means the conference semifinals are over, and I have got 1,000 questions for you about NBA basketball.
Okay.
Because there is so much going on. So much that no one really expected. I think there's a lot of things that kind of got thrown out there that's a little bit different than normal. So I'm really excited to see how that's going to go. But before we get into that, Adam, I'd like to tell you that Ohio Mosquito Control sponsors the show over here. We've got rocking the hat again today at Ohio Mosquito Control. We offer quality services to the Cincinnati area at reasonable prices. Family owned and operated. Professional mosquito control service. It's just a phone call away. Best part is you can also book it online. Start your personalized pest management service right here at ohio-mc.com. You can set it up for weeks, and they'll do it every 3 to 4 weeks and make sure all summer long you got no mosquitoes biting at your little feet and your ankles and your arms and everything. If you got kids that get big old welts when they get bit, not anymore. Not with the boys at Ohio Mosquito Control. Ohio-mc.com. Check them out. You can book online. They'll also do just one-time sprays if you got some kind of event coming on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, big time. So there you go. Ohio Mosquito Control. Ohio-mc.com. Book online. They do my yard, have done it for 4 or 5 years, and they kick mosquito butt. You know why they do that, Adam?
Why is that?
Because they are the pest of the pest.
A lot of people are going to be hosting for graduation parties.
That's right. Coming up, man. Get on there. Ohio-mc.com. Get a hold of the Schmeeg family and make this thing happen. I'm telling you, if you've got graduation parties coming up or any other kind of party that you got, they'll make sure nobody's getting bit in your backyard, man. Nobody wants to go to a party and spray a bunch of stanky off or backwoods or whatever that stuff is. Nobody wants any of that. No citronella candles. Right. Just get you a spray a couple days beforehand. You're ready to go.
Way better than exactly. I don't like summer because of bugs.
Exactly.
I can't stand the just like you said. I don't like using suntan lotion. I don't like using bug spray, but they're very necessary because otherwise you're going to get destroyed.
This is an all natural base spray they put down, right? It's just going after the skeeters. Leaves the bees alone. The bees can still go. Everybody's got to have the honey bee. We got to save the honey bee. You know how that goes. Apparently there's a honey shortage along with every other shortage in the world. So it doesn't kill the honey bees. It's just focused right there on our little insect biting little stinkers and the skeeters.
I love honey.
Not me.
No,
never been a honey guy.
Huh. I like honey. I like honey in my tea when it's cold outside.
Yeah,
pretty good.
So when you put honey in tea, like honey's like a syrup, right? It's real thick. You put that in tea, it doesn't just sink straight to the bottom, and you don't get any flavor at all.
You mix it in, it dissolves.
So you got to do a pretty good stir then. If it's that thick, I feel like you got to get a pretty good stir.
No, because it's hot tea.
The hot tea
makes it easier.
Thins it out.
Oh yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Yep, dissolves right in.
I like
Makes it sweet.
I love a good sweet tea. Yeah, I love a good sweet tea.
It's a little bit of sweetness. It's not that like thick sugary sweet tea that you buy at the store or whatever, but it makes it sweeter. It just makes it a little nicer.
I love it. That sounds good.
Also good for you. There's some sort of health properties.
I like honey whiskeys. I think those are delicious.
I've tried one years ago.
Jack Daniel's honey?
Maybe that was it. Yeah. Not bad.
Yeah.
Not that bad.
I love them. I think they're good. They were big for a while there. They got real big there for a little while. All right, Adam, let's get in. Let's how are we going to start this off? Do you want to start off by talking about the playoffs? Of course, we do have Reese's that we've been trying a ton of different Reese's here lately. And we are not going to stop eating a Reese's candy until we've eaten all the different types of Reese's bars.
I was going to say, speaking of sweets.
Oh, here we go.
Let's dive in.
So what do you got for what do we have for this week on the Reese's bar? Before we get into the sports world, what do we got?
I'm a little nervous because I feel like there was something that you weren't a big fan of, and I hope it's not this one. But I haven't had one of these in a long time. But when they first came out, I was killing these things.
Okay,
love them.
All right.
The other thing is, these have been in my freezer. I thought it would be a good idea. Reese's candy out of the freezer is always a good idea.
Sure.
I hope it's not too frozen though.
That's
I took
okay.
them out before I came over.
All right.
We're going with the Fastbreak.
Oh, I don't know that I've ever had the Fastbreak, my friend.
Ooh, okay.
I don't
know. Got some like nougat or something.
Yeah,
in
it looks like a little nougat.
Yeah.
This looks like the same thing that's in the outrageous bars, or the Nutrageous, or the outrageous bar. It looks like it's got a little of that nougat.
Yeah,
nougat.
And they have, but they have like peanuts and stuff in them too, right? The Nutrageous and the outrageous.
The Nutrageous does. The outrageous has just the Reese, or has the Reese's Pieces in it. This looks like it's got a little. This has got a little inside chocolate layer on it. I like that. And then,
okay,
yeah, peanut butter, nougat. There's peanut butter, some nougat. There's some milk chocolate. I'm excited to see how this is going to go. So, last week, the chip, we did the chip. Mm-hmm. I wasn't a big fan.
You weren't.
I was not. You liked them. Something weird about it. So I'm excited to see how this goes. Go ahead, take a bite. I think this is going to be pretty good. I'm pretty excited about it. Anytime you get Reese's peanut butter in your mouth, it's about as good as it gets. So speaking of getting something in your mouth, you got to hear this story. Yeah, it won't go that way. We'll keep it on the clean. So I have an addiction to sunflower seeds. We've talked about this on the show many times. I eat the Lay's ranch. You get them 2 for $1. The tall, skinny blue bags. I eat 2 to 3 bags a day, somewhere in it. Every day. It's every single day while I'm in the truck. It's constant. I think I had I had a moment today where I was like, this really is a drug for me. It really is. You get to the end of the bag, and my favorite part. So I'm to the point now when I go in to buy them, I look inside each bag and make sure I get the one that's got the most ranch powder in it. Mm-hmm. And I grab those. I don't want some baby ones. I want one that's got a bunch, because by the time you get to the bottom, all that extra ranch powder's down at the bottom. It's so good. I did the little pop bag, blew inside of it, got it real big and fat, turned it, dumped all the good ranch in, and I made a noise in my truck that should only be reserved for you and your loved one in intimate moments. And I, like, the eyes rolled back in the back of my head, and I went, oh my God, this is what a heroin addict feels when they get to shoot up. This is what that feels like. I am 100% addicted to sunflower seeds.
I'm the same way with, I would say, chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream and some iterations of it. And certain chocolate chip cookies. So like the Kroger chocolate chip cookies from the Kroger bakery, and then UDA or homemade brand cookies and cream, not cookies and cream. What did I just say?
Chocolate chip
cookie dough, and especially in special occasions like Tuesdays or Thursdays or Mondays or Fridays or Saturdays. I'll get
every day but Wednesday and Sunday.
Those two. Plenty of ice cream in a bowl or a cup. Usually go cup. Root beer. I know you hate that. Root beer over the top. Sprinkles sometimes. Mm-hmm. Rainbow sprinkles over that. Bad boy. Mm-hmm. Oh, a root beer float with sprinkles. I feel the same way. Mm-hmm. I feel the same way. I mean, my stomach feels like it's a just rotund, but
I don't understand
so good
the deliciousness of a root beer float.
Man, it just does something to the ice cream. It almost like puts a coating of root beer flavoring on the ice cream, I want to say. Plus you get the, in the spoon, you get a little pull around the ice cream or whatever. It's just, I don't know. They just go so well together to me. And I don't know. You're not a huge root beer guy though.
I'm not in the least. However, I couldn't tell you the last time I had root beer. I'm giving this an 8.9.
Hey, you like it?
This is good.
All right. You are giving the Reese's Fastbreak an 8.9. I'm going. I need to remember to write these down so we can keep track. I don't know why, but 8.9. I'm going to make you think. I'm going to make you think real hard about it.
Yeah.
And go just go 9. I'm just going to go 9.
Whoa, 9.0. Is that even allowed?
9.0. 9.0. Yep. I just want to make you think should I have just gone a 10? But no, solid 8.9. Nice. Okay. Sticking to it. Mm-hmm. So what makes it not reach the 9?
I don't know. I think there's something in it that's a little chewier than I would like it to be.
Okay.
Take out the little chewier part, and it's up above that.
I feel like it's got to be the nougat, right?
Yeah, it's definitely the nougat down at the bottom. I assume it's the stuff down at the bottom.
Chewier. I know what you're talking about.
Or there's this different layer of chocolate on the inside that it could be too. It's not a hard chocolate, but it's like a different layer of chocolate. It could be that too.
Okay. So you would like it to be a little bit softer.
Yeah, I would like it to be a little softer, which may also be just from being in the freezer.
Yeah.
Which I'm a big I put my chocolate in the freezer all the time.
Sure. Yep. Yeah. Reese's peanut butter cups in the freezer or the refrigerator even. Mm-hmm. The best. That's the only place I keep them. All right. So good scores here. You're at an 8.9. I'm about a 9. Good job, Reese's, on the fast break. I remember when these first came out and I tried one. I'm like, holy smokes, this is like my new favorite thing. Mm-hmm. And I ate a bunch of them for a while, and then I just didn't for a while. I don't know. I saw them the other day. I was like,
that's probably going to happen to me with the outrageous bar. I had 2 more today. I go to the store. I go pick up. It's got to the point now where every morning I go to the gas station and grab 2 or 4 bags of sunflower seeds. And I walk to see, because they don't always have them. But if they've got the outrageous bar, I just grab 2 of them. Every single day.
Look, you need some energy throughout the day. Mm-hmm. You got to keep some nourishment, keep some energy flowing into your body so you can go sell some wood.
Yep. Got to do what you got to do, man. There you go. All right. So we are... Let's move from the Reese's and head over to the NBA playoffs. I know we've got a lot of people that aren't a big fan of the NBA playoffs, but dude, we are getting into the end of the playoffs. We told you how great of a series the Celtics and Bucks were going to be. We told you how great it was going to be, and it showed out. We had a 7-game series. We also had a 7-game series in the Dallas Mavericks v Phoenix Suns. Giannis Antetokounmpo is, I don't know. I don't know if there's a debate. Giannis Antetokounmpo is more than likely the best player in the NBA right now. And top 10 player right now is probably a guy like Devin Booker and an all-time superstar in Chris Paul.
Yep.
Have both been knocked out of the playoffs. So before we get started with all this stuff, because those were 2 terrible game 7s, absolute blowouts. I'm pretty sure Phoenix, I don't know if Phoenix even showed up for that game.
Oh my gosh.
But here's my question for you. Who is the best player left in the playoffs? Because you've got Miami and Jimmy Butler, right? That's their guy. In Boston, you've got Jason Tatum, who is now clearly taken over Jaylen Brown for the best player on that team.
Although Jaylen Brown's fantastic.
No, I don't mean it in a bad way. You've got Luka Doncic, and you've got Steph Curry.
Yep. It's hard. It depends on how you want to look at it. Best, most exciting player, probably Luka maybe, or Steph. I mean,
the game going on right now has got the two best players in the playoffs.
Possibly,
it's Steph or Luka, and Luka is becoming a guy who I'm going to put my 2 cents in right now.
Do it.
I love Luka Doncic. He might be. We talked about this beginning of the year. He might be my new favorite player in the NBA.
Hard not to like the guy. He got into a thing last year where he got to like basically MVP level, and then in his complaining about calls got so bad that he got a lot of technicals, got kicked out of some games, and it got hard to watch. He entered this season with a mindset that he was going to try to fix that a little bit. I think he talked to some people and wanted to kind of get better at that. Now,
and he's a young guy coming from Europe. He played professional ball in Europe forever. It's not, as much as we like to say this ain't the old NBA, it's still more physical than a lot of ball you're going to play around the world.
Sure. Yep. But he is definitely working the officials all game long. But and when you said Jimmy Butler, I'm like, yeah, it's not going to be him. And that's a day after coming off. Miami beat Boston in game 1, and he's coming off a 41.9 rebound, like 6 assists. And the biggest thing to me is 4 steals and 3 blocks in that game.
Well, yeah, he's one of the best. He's the best defensive player left in the playoffs. There's no doubt about it. He might be the best defense. Who's better than him defensively?
Draymond.
Okay.
And the defensive player of the year this year, Marcus Smart, who didn't play in game 1. But
man, I'm telling you what, I think Jimmy Butler is as good a defender as both those guys.
Maybe. He's always been one of the best two-way players. I mean, you always talk about him and Kawhi Leonard and Klay Thompson and those guys. But, I'm with you. Jimmy Butler was incredible in game 1, and they beat now Boston was without Marcus Smart, but Miami is without Kyle Lowry.
Yep.
So, everybody's kind of playing without a guy or two or whatever. But it was interesting to see Miami beat them, and pretty handily. That's the thing about the playoffs so far is, and you mentioned it, the most disappointing, my heaven day of 2 game 7s on Sunday.
Yep.
I'm going into it like, oh my God, I'm making plans around those games. I'm sitting down watching those games, and they turned out to be 2 awful.
Yeah.
I mean, Dallas was up by 40 most of the second half.
Yeah. At halftime, they were up by like 32 or something like that.
Yeah. That was really surprising. Apparently there's some issue where they're way down on DeAndre Ayton after that game. I heard Monty Williams actually said something to him during the game, took him out. He only played like 17 minutes or something like that, or 15 minutes or something. And he took him out and said, "You quit on us," or something like that. And I've never heard Monty Williams say anything bad about anybody in my life.
Wow.
And he told DeAndre Ayton to his face during the game that he quit on his team. I don't know. I have to go back and like pay attention to DeAndre Ayton closer, but man, that's a real thing. And then people away are talking about
saying something that's big, because I'm going to tell you, man, these guys you're in the NBA, you're in the playoffs, you're that high of a caliber of player in that moment. I mean, guys quit in the middle of games all the time in the regular season, but in that moment in a game 7, you better be, if you're going to say something like that to a player, you better be damn sure that that's legit what happened, or else that coach of the year trophy you just got, you ain't gonna get very many more of them, because you're gonna lose that locker room quick.
Oh, like I said, I have no doubt that's the case. If Monty Williams said it, I feel like
exactly
he doesn't say things like that very
right.
You'd never hear him say anything bad about anybody. But that was interesting, and you're already hearing about other teams like talking to him or looking for trades and things like that. So he may very well end up somewhere else. So if you're listening to this and your favorite team needs a center or a big, DeAndre Ayton may be on the market, maybe on the trade block.
It'd be interesting to see how DeAndre Ayton takes that, because he's a very young player. We got a new generation of player that you hear, these veterans talk about it all the time. You know what I mean? It's going to be interesting to see how he takes it, because if he just decides he doesn't want to be there anymore, he's just going to decide he doesn't want to be there anymore. He's going to do the oh God bless America, Ben Simmons kind of deal, where he's just like, okay, I'm just not playing. I don't want to be here. I don't feel comfortable. I'm just not playing. Instead of, I don't want to be here. I don't feel comfortable, but this is my job, so I'm going to go out and do my job anyway. That mindset is no longer a big thing in the NBA anymore.
You're right. James Harden's done it twice.
James Harden's done it. Exactly.
Even old one eyebrow.
When he was scallywag.
When he was scallywag, one eyebrow, when he was in New Orleans and decided to request a trade or whatever. And then Anthony Davis, they just stopped playing him because they're like just waiting for him to
get traded. Yep. They basically said if he gets hurt or something happens, they're not going to get anything for him. So sit him on the bench.
So weird.
It's insane the way that's, and a lot of people talk about it as the players, it's good for the players to have, power. Mm-hmm. But at some point in time, man, that's a tough thing to swallow when you're in that locker room with him playing as hard as you can every single night. That's hard. That'd be hard. That's hard for me.
Absolutely. As a teammate, as a coach, coaches are huge on that kind of stuff, like drilling into players, especially younger players, about, being just like, dealing with adversity, pushing through it, and being there for your teammates, not being selfish and that kind of stuff. And it's just on that level, I guess, when money's involved, when there's so much money involved, you're just gonna. They do have the power.
Speaking of that, I'm gonna rotate us off. I'm going on a tangent right now. We talked about this for a minute. I'm gonna go on a tangent. In a couple states, high schoolers are able to make money off name, image, and likeness. The state of Ohio is having the I don't know if it's coaches or there's some like 500 coaches or something like that have to vote on if they will allow name, image, and likeness in the state of Ohio for high school.
I did not get a vote.
You didn't get a vote? Okay. Maybe it's just varsity coaches.
Probably. They're the only ones that matter.
No, freshman girls basketball, although it is D1, freshman girls basketball.
Whatever.
One of the greatest. I'll tell you what, honestly, right now, if you were to start a Hall of Fame for high school freshman girls basketball coaches, I feel like you'd be first ballot.
Man, I appreciate that. I think if you're talking specifically at Oak Hills High School in the last year, maybe I'm considered.
So anyway, let's go back to this name, image, likeness thing. You were talking about money being a big part of it in the NBA. That's a big thing where a lot of coaches have come out in the state of Ohio of saying, how is this going to affect my team if it's going to be the quarterback or, the star point guard or whoever is getting money and going through this? How's it going to affect the team? Is he going to hold out for things? Are things going to happen? Or, what's he going to do when we get into a situation where we're losing a lot of games and he thinks that, he needs to be somewhere else? And, you already see Ohio's open, whatever you call it, for high school, where you can move. You don't have to sit out. If you move into a different district, you just start playing for that team.
Open
enrollment. There you go. So, that is the biggest issue in the state of Ohio right now that coaches are thinking about, is that exact thing of all right, well, it's all about the money. How's the rest of the team going to act with this kid? Would you would you let name, image, and likeness go in high school? The big now to let it be clear, no contracts can be signed by the kids. It has, obviously they're under 18. So that has to all be signed by a parent, by an adult. I believe they would make it to where you have to have a NIL attorney before you. I think they said you have to do that. I can't remember if they said they have to or if they strongly suggest it. Have an NIL attorney go over everything before you get into any kind of contract.
Yeah, that was the thing I was going to bring up. Is for me, it's all about the stipulations. You have to have strong rules around it because these people are minors.
Which is what happened in college basketball. They screwed up by not having basically anything going on, and it became open season. And now they're trying to reel it all back in and figure out how to do it all. Yeah. So I believe there's a lot of different stipulations, and I read an article in the paper, but it was a couple weeks ago, and I can't remember everything about it because there's a lot of law talk in it, and a lot of those words I don't even sound out. I just skip through them. I don't even try to sound them out.
Yeah, but it's the law stuff is the most important part of it to me, I think. And yeah, I mean, it's not going to affect very many high school kids because it's only going to be, you're going to be able to do whatever it is, however you're going to make the money, appearances or maybe local commercial or something, whatever it is that
having your own, you can have your own
sponsor.
Well, you can't, there's nothing can be put on a jersey. So that's not going to happen because that's school. You can have a camp. You can do a camp in your name, but you cannot have anything from that school on any article of clothing that is involved in that camp. You can't have anything from the school. So there's a lot of separation in some of the stuff. One thing I do like about it, and I was reading in the paper about this, is kind of cool. You're starting a business. It's your brand. You have to run a business, pay taxes, all kinds of stuff. And if you do it correctly, and if you are the one in charge, you're doing it. That's the other part too. You are running a business and going to school full time and playing a sport full time. That's a lot. But if you do it, you can walk into a job interview out of high school or college and say, I don't have experience yet. I don't have job experience yet. However, I've been running my own business for the last 2 years or whatever. Yeah. And, I mean, that's something that it is, there's good and bad to it, I think. And I don't know, I would personally vote it down for the locker room reasons. I don't like the locker room reasons. Of course, like you said, though, so few kids are going to make anything off of this. Essentially, top 25, maybe even top 50 in the country might get something along with that, but or maybe a couple of kids in each state or something like that. Yeah. But it's not. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to affect a ton of people, I don't think. But the locker room thing is interesting, but it's not. I mean, it can't just be assumed that it's going to break apart a locker room because that's not a guarantee. Yeah. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It all depends on how people behave, how the person who's getting paid for their name, how they're handling it, how they act and treat other people around them, treat their teammates and everything, and then how they take it. I mean, if you're going to have jealousy or whatever, well, that's on you. I mean, it's kind of your responsibility to put that stuff aside. Now, if that stuff is affecting practices and that kind of thing, then it's the coach's job to say that stuff stops right now, or that's it. Every school has to have an administrator that you can go to that will be able to know about who's doing it, how it's being reported. You have to start your own LLC if you're going to do it. You have to start an LLC. You have to trademark anything you have. So you have to go and do a lot of stuff before you can. It's like not like some kid can just go make a bunch of shirts with his face on it because he's the fat kid on the basketball team. You know what I mean? And sell them for $10-20 a piece to the rest of the kids in school. You have to do. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that you have to go through. Yeah, it's not like the movie Teen Wolf. You can't. You're not just going to have your face. And Styles isn't just coming out making shirts overnight for you. He's not making shirts. And now, if you made a shirt of Chubby from the team,
I'd 100% wear that.
Yeah.
I'd 100% wear a chubby shirt.
Shoot it, fat boy.
But yeah, and look, that's why you gotta have to start your own LLC. There's all this legal stuff, but that's why you have to have the attorneys and the administrators. You have to have those people in place. A 16, 17-year-old kid is not going to do all that stuff himself. It's mostly going to be done by
right. You cannot start an LLC at 16 or 17 years old. You cannot do it.
So it's mostly all the hard stuff is going to be handled by those people and the parents.
Yeah. I could be wrong about that. We have too many lawyers that listen to this podcast. I could be totally wrong. Maybe you can start an LLC at that age. I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't at me.
Or maybe at us.
Or at us. Let us know what is good about it. This would be a good topic to bring Mr. Leonard into.
Yeah, for sure.
Fan of the podcast. So anyway, back to the NBA. So yeah, kind of crazy with the DeAndre Ayton thing. Feel bad for Devin Booker. While I'm talking about Devin Booker, is there a Kendall Jenner curse in the NBA?
No.
Blake Griffin signs a huge contract and dates Kendall Jenner, and within 6 to 8 months is traded and is lost into obscurity. Lost into obscurity. That goes away. She dates Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons goes into his own obscurity and is gone. Is it too late for Devin Booker to get out? Can he still get out of this curse?
And actually, I've heard some rumors.
It's not a joke, by the way. I'm being dead serious.
I've heard rumors that that's a big part of Ben Simmons' mental health stuff. Is that breakup?
Do you know that if Devin Booker, we've talked about this before I think we talked about with Kim Kardashian or something, maybe, like if Devin Booker is out there playing against Ben Simmons and he's like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you know who I am. Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. She left you for me, big boy. Oh, you gonna back me down? You feel that, don't you? That's why she left. That's why she left. Yep. That's why she left. Yep, you feel that? It ain't even ready to go yet.
A lot of trash talk opportunity there for sure. Yeah, I don't know. You know what? Maybe there is a Kendall Jenner curse.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. It could be.
I'll tell you this. If she breaks up with Devin Booker, I'm willing to take one for the team and see if it's true. I will. It's gonna be so hard. I will date Kendall Jenner.
You're willing to ruin your career.
100%. I don't even like my job.
Exactly. Yep.
No.
Sign me up for that. I don't care if it's 3 months, 6 months, 2 weeks. Sign me up.
I'll take one for the team.
There you go.
I'll see if it's true.
God love those Kardashians, man. You want to talk about name, image, and likeness? Good night. Those girls. You can say whatever you want. They don't work. They don't do nothing. Those girls work their tails off. And I'm going to be completely honest. I've talked about how much I respect them. They have taken something. They started a new generation of kids making money for what older people say is doing nothing, which basically is just being themselves on social media.
Being hot on social media.
And people pay them $1,000 every time they take a picture with a banana in their hand.
Sure. Yeah. Chiquita pays big money.
Right. So I'm going on record as saying good for those girls. Good for the whole Jenner Kardashian family. There's a couple billionaires in there, quite a few multi-millionaires. I mean, the only reason people hate on them is because they're jealous. They're jealous. They can't be that. They're jealous that those girls made all that money and have done all this by what they say is doing nothing, which I say they still work every day to get there, man. It ain't easy staying and looking like that.
I guess so.
You tell me what you think about it.
Yeah. I mean, if they're like, a little bit less attractive, they don't do any of this stuff. I mean, they do have their dad, mom is Bruce, Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah.
And they come from famous people.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the start. But if they were normal people, and if they looked like normal people,
they've opened up a whole new generation of normal kids, normal people making money off of this. 100%. The only reason, like Bryce, whoever, or Stacy, whoever, you name some person on the TikTok or the Insta Snap,
they're all
that's making money. Kids. That's fine, but they were just normal people. They don't all come from famous people. Sure. And they're taking their talents or their looks, that their God-given ability, and are making money off of that. And if you should be able to profit off of anything you can. Good for you. Take advantage of every opportunity you can.
If I could do it, I would.
Exactly.
I'm not going to lie about that.
Yes. Sure. But I'm telling you what, the way people talk about that stuff, if my two girls were just like all of a sudden start raking in millions of dollars because they're doing, tick snap chant dances and all this stuff, and people are paying them, I'm like, go ahead, girl, make that money. Good for you. Just keep your clothes on.
That's the thing. Yeah,
it's all right. Only one of them got caught with their clothes off.
There's a blurred line there.
It's not blurred. It's hard. It's in the sand. It's not blurred.
Yeah. But some of the people with their clothes on strategically wear certain clothes and do certain things and do certain dances and that kind of stuff. That makes it.
But there are others that do all that stuff without doing that, and are some of the most popular people in the entire world.
Yeah,
the TikTokers.
You have to either have a real. You have to either be good at something, have a real talent, or be very attractive. I mean, those are the two things. I don't think anybody's making any money without one of those things.
Oh, I guarantee there's some people out there making a little bit of money that don't have one of those things. There's some goofballs out there making some money off of the TikToks and stuff.
Maybe because there are people that make money that are not good at what they're supposedly good at. Like,
yeah,
I mean, we've seen terrible comedians before that make money doing comedy. I'm not good at my job and I make money.
Fantastic at your job.
I don't know about that. Anyway, sure. Yeah. Kardashians. Where do we get?
You don't even like the Kardashians. You don't like you are jealous. You are another one of these people that come out here jealous that you got 4, 5, 6, 8 people. I don't even know how many people were in that daggone family. And they've taken advantage of an opportunity and they've made the most of it. That right there is the American dream.
That right there, I think, is what people have a problem with. How did they get that opportunity?
What do you mean, how'd they get the opportunity?
What opportunity was there? I mean, that they came from famous parents.
Were they really though? I mean, like Rob Kardashian or no, Rob Kardashian, was that his name? Rob's the brother. Whatever the Kardashian guy was that was a lawyer for O.J. Simpson. I mean, yeah, you see him there, but I mean, outside of that, nobody knew who these girls were while they were growing up. Like Kim hooked up with Ray J, and boom, now she's famous. That's how it started.
And apparently that was,
and then he wanted to do a TV show on it.
And apparently that was all orchestrated by her mom. I heard that recently. It like
the mom's got the video. Mom stepped in.
I heard she
made sure she got the video, taking care of that because she had to make sure there was, she didn't want it leaked again.
That makes it even harder. It's a not so normal. It's a not so normal family.
All I'm telling you is
just very attractive.
You take advantage of any opportunity that comes to you.
I suppose.
And a lot of other people, I'm not going to say every person, but a lot of other people would take advantage of any opportunity that was brought to them if it meant, hey, you're going to make millions of dollars. Forget that. 2 of them have billions of dollars.
Sure. But I think the thing is, don't give them credit for being super hard work. I mean, sure.
How do you know they're not hardworking? They've got like 5 brands. They've got a clothing brand. They do everything. They worked at those stores.
They have those opportunities because of starting famous and rich and being really attractive. And so then that gets them opportunities that most of course, most people don't have. And so I think
you still have to work to build it. Nothing was handed to them.
I mean, the opportunities mostly were handed to them,
but they still, I mean, people have opportunities handed to them every day. You still have to work to make that work. It's not, people aren't just going out and buying something because you're rich, and they weren't famous before. They were just rich. They were rich. There's a ton of rich people that live in the exact same area that they do. There was nothing more to them except being rich. You didn't know who any of those kids were.
Any of the Kardashians?
You didn't know who any of them were when they were growing up. And when their dad did the whole trial thing, they were little tiny kids.
Sure.
And they grew up after that.
Sure. But they're sort of famous because of that. And then their mom married Bruce Jenner, who was one of the most famous athletes in probably
even when that happened. Did you hear? Oh, Bruce Jenner just married. Nobody heard about that. Nobody cared about that.
Doing the show and stuff
until they did the show. There you go. They're rich people in a rich neighborhood. There's a bunch of rich people that have famous parents that didn't get the show, or some people that did. Look at Run's house. They had an opportunity to do it. You ever seen that with Run DMC? Run's house? Never saw Run's house? Exactly. That was on E. He had a show. His kids were in it. They're attractive people. Didn't pan out for them. You still got to work to make it happen. Yeah. Harold Reynolds. Not Harold Reynolds. Was it Harold Reynolds? No, it was no, your boy on TNT. He had a show. Come on. Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith. Kenny Smith had one. He's got a bunch of good-looking kids. They were on TV.
Very short-lived.
That's the point.
And they're not famous for that. They
were famous from before that. Because Kenny was famous and Kenny was rich, and they got the opportunity and got a show, but they couldn't move with it. The Kardashians moved with it. You have to give them credit for doing what they did.
Release naked videos and pictures of themselves, and they're like the top tier attractive.
Do you know how many naked people have stuff out there that nobody cares, that doesn't?
Right, because they're famous. They're famous and they're all over the place.
There's a ton of people with naked stuff out there that are super famous. It's taking, I'm telling you, taking advantage of opportunities and working. You still have to work to keep that image. And for them, it's working to keep an image, working to keep a brand going where it's at, staying in front of the media. That's the work that they have to do. You think that's fun? You think that's easy to live your life in front of a camera? I'm going to tell you right now, that sounds like that would suck.
It's probably way worse than some people think, but they also are, I mean, they're doing that because they also like the limelight. I mean,
that's fine. A lot of people,
pretty clear.
Sure, a lot of people, but a lot of people love the limelight. But as soon as all those cameras start flashing, things get real ugly real quick. Look at old Nick Lackey, Lachey, and Jennifer Simpson. You know what I mean? Once the lights came on, all of a sudden things got a little rocky. Boom, they couldn't handle it. You don't remember that show?
I forgot about it.
I'm just telling you, there's so many examples of that stuff not working. You still have to build that brand. You still have to build that. You still have to work to do that. I'm just saying, people give the Kardashians a rough time. I applaud them. I say, way to go. I say, great job. Way to take your opportunity and take it to the next level as far as you can.
Sure.
You don't believe you're totally out.
No, I don't.
You just don't want to talk about it.
I don't
anymore.
disagree. It's just that for most people, it's a very different way to have to work for something than most people. Most people can't relate to what their opportunities are and to what work they have to do for that stuff. It's most people have.
I'm just telling you that
more hardship than that, so it's hard to relate to.
People are getting there now because of what they started with, the whole branding and all that stuff. On the social medias, there are a lot of people, may not making millions and millions and millions of dollars, but there are a lot of people with a ton of followers because of whatever they do, whether they're good looking and do a dance or whatever, but can get a lot of looks on their page. Because of what they did, these people now are able to make money doing something like that.
Because Kim's mom purposely leaked.
You don't know that. You don't know that. Yeah, you just heard it. See, here we go.
Pretty...
You just heard it.
No,
You're just as bad as every other media guy. Oh, you know what I heard? You know what I heard too? I heard that Joe Biden started the coronavirus. Okay. Yeah, talk about some stupid stuff that you hear.
So Golden State and Dallas are
just trying to prove a point. Just because you hear something doesn't mean it's true.
It's not over yet.
It's not. It's got to be close though. I mean, the time may not be over in that game, but I'm telling you right now, when we stopped watching it, it was 20 points going into the fourth quarter.
I'm wrong. It is over. 112-87 Golden State. So Golden State's up 1-0 in that series. Miami's up 1-0 in the series against Boston.
Another 30-point game.
Yeah. I know. That's definitely by far the most disappointing part about these playoffs is there have been a lot of blowouts. And even in some series, like a 25-point blowout one way, and then the next game, a 25-point blowout the other way.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not like you win by 30 and you're like, oh, and you go out and sweep. No, there's game 7 because everybody's going back and forth. And a lot of it seems to be home court advantage. It hasn't all been home games that have won, but if normally when you go on, look at the 2 teams that did it the other day. Oh no, Phoenix was at home.
That's right.
I forgot about
both teams won all of their home games though until that game.
Yeah. But Miami was the number 1 seed. Miami was at home.
Yeah.
Which once again, there you go, right? Well, how many times have we talked about being in Miami and seeing that Miami hangover kicking?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, dude, I think that's a real thing.
I don't know that that they at that point in the playoffs, I don't know that you're down there partying. Now, maybe
DeAndre Ayton went out on his own.
Well, they didn't play in Miami. But
game 7 was in Miami.
But DeAndre Ayton didn't.
Oh, yeah, you're right. He was in Phoenix because he's in the West.
So yeah, I wouldn't expect in the playoffs.
Miami didn't even play in a game 7.
That's right. They didn't.
Sorry.
They didn't play in a game 7. But we could go game 7 though here. I expect, even though Miami looked really good in that game in game 1, I expect Boston to come back and punch them in the mouth in game 2 and maybe not tie the series up. I don't know. I mean, but this does feel pretty even. And even maybe still, I would lean a little more Boston, even after that game 1. It
feels like they have a couple more pieces, but we talked about this before about the way Miami plays together, the way they play defense as a team, the way they play so well offensively as a team. But then again, you're talking about Boston, who plays as good defensively as a team as anybody else in the NBA. So I don't know, man. It's hard to say. Looking at the rosters, you'd say Boston would be the team to beat in this series. But
yeah, Miami's sort of deep too. Sort of. I mean, when you have Strus shooting the ball like he did in game 1, I mean, they have guys that can. Both teams really have guys like Grant Williams in game 7 of that series. Like
Miami's got the 6th man of the year.
Sure. Yep. And Tyler Hero, but they both have good enough role players that they can have those games that they step up and score 23, 26, something like that, and kind of help take over a game, like Grant Williams did and Al Horford did in that series too. So anyway, I mean, you're going to get the stars playing well, of course, but I think it probably does come down to whoever plays the best defense and whoever's role players play the best. Maybe the couple of guys who come off the bench, whoever's bench plays the best, maybe too.
There you go.
All right. What else do we have? Let me tell you really quick. We haven't done a walking story in a long time.
Oh, we haven't done a walking story, dude. Yeah,
I have a couple of things for it. So went out for a long walk Sunday morning. A couple of things happened. They're not great stories, but the one, I'm walking past this funeral home, right? And I swear, I'm like, I hear a cat making noise, meowing or whatever, making some sort of noise, but I'm looking around. It sounds like it's coming from a bush in front of this funeral home.
Yeah.
I can't see a cat. And I'm like, am I going nuts? I'm kind of looking around. There's hardly anybody out. I'm like, I hear a cat. I can't see one anywhere. So what? Who cares? I walk.
That would have been my very first thing I would have said.
Yeah.
Who cares? Who cares?
I'm very aware of all animals because I'm afraid of all of them. But so I keep walking, and then I'm walking. I make my turn, and I come back, walking past that same funeral home. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really think too much about the cat anymore. I look up as I'm walking past the funeral home, across the sidewalk in front of the front door of that funeral home, which isn't too far from the sidewalk near the street where I am. This little lizard runs across from like behind one bush, runs across the little pathway in front of the door, underneath another bush, right? An eighth of a second after that thing scurries across, a cat flies out and dives into that bush.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Cat chasing a
lizard.
Chasing a lizard.
Are you scared of lizards?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I have my front porch. There's about 12 of them that live underneath it.
Yeah.
It's insane. Every time I come home, there's 2 or 3 of them out crawling on a wall or coming across.
That's the thing. They're always like in rocks or concrete walls or something. They're kind of fun to like see because I feel like I never saw them growing up. I feel like last 3-4 years or something like that. They start coming out around here. I don't know how that happens, but they migrated north or something, and
who knows?
Now they're here.
Climate change.
That's right. So lobbyists, we need you to take care. I'm just kidding. But anyway.
I love when there's any ounce of something slightly political that gets put up, and the awkwardness that comes out of you almost immediately is so much fun to watch.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm so uncomfortable because I know almost nothing about it, so I don't really have anything to say. So I continue on my walk. I'm getting near home. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting ready. So I'm coming down. I live off of a street that is like kind of a long street, and then there's a decline in the street, and then at the bottom of this hill in this dip, there's like an S curve.
Okay.
It's like kind of a sharp S curve. So the guy whose house is on this S curve is out there cutting his grass, and he's cutting right along where the sidewalk is. I see him up ahead. I'm walking toward that. I'm like, okay, I'm going to cross over so he doesn't have to worry about stopping or whatever, and I don't get hit by shrapnel. So I look back on the street behind me. I see there's a car coming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to wait for this car. I'm still walking, plenty of room, plenty of time. I'm going to wait for this car. And then I look across the street where I'm going to cross, and there's this guy that just came out of his house, walks down his front porch onto his front grass there. And I'm like, I'm going to wait until after I pass this guy's house, cross over. So I'm not like, I don't know what he's doing over there. I don't know if he's going to meet me at the sidewalk or whatever. I'm going to wait. All this stuff. I overanalyze everything. So the car goes by. All right. There are other parked cars and stuff, so I don't see the car perfectly after it passes me. But a second or two after it passes me, really loud bang coming from where that car is. And I look up, and the car just keeps driving. And I realize, it took me a second, but I realized it blasted a parked car's mirror off.
Oh,
I don't know if the person was looking at their phone or
you know what that person was looking at? You know what they were doing?
What's that?
They passed you, and they were checking that dude out in the rear, in their side mirror, and smoked that side. Oh, good man. Yeah.
I have been hit on by a gay man out walking before. So maybe
that might have been the very first walking. No, could have been. Crack a Thug was the first walking thug. Yeah, Walking Stories with Crack a Thug. That's how it started.
So anyway, I don't think that's what happened, but this car did hit that noise. So, and then the guy who was across the street at his house yells from his porch right away. I looked at the guy and thought, okay, this guy's really something, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not fair to say that about anybody just by looking at them. But he opened his mouth, and I was like, I was right. And just yells to a car driving away something about, if you slow down, stuff won't fall off your car. But he's saying at the top of his lungs and dropping MFs throughout.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, okay, good. That'd be a good neighbor to have. So anyway, and then he's standing there, and then I see the guy stop cutting the grass because it was like the guy passed him right when he hit the car. And he is like looking up, and he starts like kind of walking fast toward where the guy, because he's up the street pretty far now.
Trying to get a license plate or something.
Yeah. So he's doing that. Some girl comes out of the house or something, or she was on the porch maybe. And so she's like looking up there, and she's getting her phone out, and he's like, "Did you see what kind of car it was?" And she said, "Yeah," which was good because I couldn't tell. It was a black car. That's all I could see.
So did you get to have a conversation with these guys later? You didn't walk over there like, oh no. Okay.
I didn't.
You didn't see anything. I mean, you didn't get.
I know it happened, but I didn't really witness it because I was just kind of looking down. I didn't expect it or anything. So anyway, just the kind of seeing, kind of witnessing, I guess, a parked car get swiped.
Nice, man. That sucks for that car.
So that's the walking story. Yesterday, 2 days ago, I'm working from home, and I'm a DoorDash fiend.
Oh yeah.
Big DoorDash guy. Do you use the delivery services?
Yeah, I pay for the Dash Pass or whatever. I don't know why, because by the time you order something, it's costing you as much as one delivery fee would be anyway.
Absolutely. So I go. So Tuesday, I order breakfast, DoorDash.
Nice.
No problem. Get it, heat it up. Order lunch, DoorDash.
Nice.
Guy comes. It's taking a little bit longer than I thought it was supposed to. End up says that your dasher dropped this off, and they take the picture. The picture of the food was not on my porch.
Oh,
okay. Like probably one of my next door neighbors.
Gotta be a next door neighbor. Yeah.
I'll walk over to the left. No food. Walk over to the right. No food. Like, all right, I'm not going to walk up and down the street looking at everybody's porch because it's going to look like I'm looking for
your food. It probably would look like you're looking for your food.
And also it could look like several other things. Like I'm just snooping on people's porches.
And if somebody wants to say, "Hey, what are you doing?" You know what I'd say? I'm looking for my food.
Yeah.
Plus it would give me an opportunity to tell the story. I just love talking. So it'd be totally different if I was doing it.
I didn't want to talk to anybody. I'm in the middle of working. All I want to do is get my grilled club with no onions or tomatoes and my 2 cookies from Penn Station.
Yes.
And I want to bring them in, and I want to chow them down.
Yes.
I have no idea where it is. I text the number that they text you from or whatever. Yep. And I say, this is the wrong house. I didn't know how to, I was trying to think of like the politest way to say it.
Delivered it to the wrong house.
This isn't the right house or whatever. Yeah. And so it sends me a little message. We are connecting you with your driver. Where is it? Is the next message I got from the driver. I just send him my address. I said, this is the address it was supposed to go to. I checked both next door neighbors. It's not there either. I wait about 25, 30 minutes. No response. No response.
This dude's getting a 0 star.
Yeah. And so I'm thinking the whole time, like, do I call the person? Do I text the person again? What do I have no idea what to do here. So I end up there's a little help button or whatever. I do that. It actually ends up being kind of easy. And it asks you if you want a refund or if you want a credit. I'm like, I'm pretty hungry now. I want food.
Yeah. Can you just get my food to me?
So I took the credit. I went back in, Penn Station again, ordered the whole thing again.
Oh, tell me the same guy got it and he delivered it to the wrong house. Please tell me that.
No. But with DoorDash and probably the other services too, most of the time they will put a sticker that the restaurant will put a sticker on it, like basically kind of seal the bag. Mm-hmm. This came, not only did it not come in the Penn Station, the long white bag that they put it in, it came in a liquor store brown paper bag, totally open. It wasn't like not the sandwich that was wrapped up and the cookies were wrapped up, but it was not a sealed bag. It was not a Penn Station bag. It was just a brown paper bag with that stuff in it.
Did you go back and look at the last picture? Was it in a regular Penn Station bag?
Yes.
Oh, see, that's my thought. My first thought is, man, maybe Penn Station ran out of bags.
That's what I assumed. Yeah, but I don't know. Especially after the first thing that happened, I'm like, boy, that's kind of a strike too. Like I might not even really think about it that much if the first thing didn't happen.
Yeah.
But anyway, just kind of a. But you know what? I've ordered and I think about this all the time, like at Skyline. Once in a while, they'll get my order wrong if I go to the drive-through or something, or I'll get an onion or two on something. And I'm like, I've been here 10,000 times in my life. They've gotten it wrong 10 times. Yep. That's pretty good.
That's pretty daggone good.
So anyway, I forgave them.
Good for you. You say you DoorDash today.
I did not DoorDash today, but I will be
DoorDashing tomorrow.
Working from home tomorrow. You better believe it.
I love it.
Anyway,
that's awesome.
Those are my stories from this week. You got anything? Anything crazy happened to you in the last week?
Anything crazy? Oh, so today, I'm in West Virginia, in the mountains, West Virginia. Get up, go to my first stop, say hi to everybody, come out, flat tire.
Oh no.
Yep. So I keep a compressor in the car.
Good for you.
Pump it up a little bit, roll to a empty parking lot, which in most places in West Virginia is not the smartest idea. Go to this empty parking lot and found the nail, got the nail out. Luckily, I keep tire plugs in my truck as well. So plugged it up, got home. That's the only story I got that happened today. Yeah, it takes forever because all the air comes out, and then you got that little tiny compressor. Takes forever to pump a tire up, especially a truck tire. So, it took a good 35, 45 minutes for that thing to pump up. So yeah, outside of that, I don't have much.
You're a real man. I'll tell you that much.
I'll tell you something about
drive a big old truck through the mountains of West Virginia. I carry my own compressor and my own tire plugs. Dang, man. I'm such a lady compared to that.
It has nothing to do with being a woman or a man. It just has to do with the fact that that's happened before. So I bought plugs and now I keep them in my car because they come in like a pack of 6. So
when you travel that far, that is not a bad idea at all.
Yeah. Gotta make sure you're ready.
Matter of fact, a driving story. Last week, I'm driving. I think it's the first time it's happened in my life, which is kind of surprising. I'm driving and, I'm going like 45 minutes away to get some basketball shoes. I'm looking for basketball shoes. Yep. I go back up to the outlet mall. Driving up there, really loud bang again. I'm hearing all these loud bangs. Loud bang on my car somewhere. I'm like, whoa, like I jumped.
I hate that. I hate that.
I thought for a second I got shot at. That's what it sounded like to me, or how I assume it sounds. I'm like, oh my God, what just happened? And it took me a second, and I noticed big old chip out of my windshield.
I hate that.
I'm like, gosh, bless, man. I don't want it to spider. I don't want it to start growing.
Get that safe light, man. Smaller than a quarter, man, or whatever it is. They put that safe light on there. That's what they got on mine. I got a little safe light patch on it.
Okay, is it like some kind of little? Okay, my dad was telling me.
Yeah, it's like a resin. They put it on there. They do this like suction thing that squeeze and it hardens and all that. Now I will tell you this: it's always there.
That's gonna bother me.
Yeah, it's
gonna bother me for a little bit, and then maybe not.
I still see it constantly because I drive so much, and I'm always hearing something bang against the window or something. And I'm like, oh my God. And I immediately look up and I see that spot thinking it's new, but it's the same one but it hasn't started chipping. It hasn't spidered out since they put it in there. They've got to, so their warranty for it is that if it doesn't work, they'll take the money that you paid for that and put it towards your new windshield. So what the $80 that you pay to get the, I don't know if it's $80 or $4. I don't know. It depends on your insurance. But whatever you pay towards it, if it doesn't work and it ends up spidering out and not working from that, then they're like, all right, well, that money you paid us, we'll just put that towards your next windshield.
So it's Safe Light?
Safe Light. Safe Light repair, Safe Light replace.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm gonna give them a call. And you just answered my other question. Did your insurance cover it?
I think insurance.
It must.
I have. Well, it depends. You can have, if you got road hazard and stuff like that, then it just depends, man. It depends.
I had to call my insurance guy.
Yep, it's not bad though. I mean, it's as long as you don't have to pay a deductible where you got to put a claim in or something, because that would suck. But if it's something that is one of those freebies for you, then it's always a good one. Otherwise, you just go pay the $80 and because it's otherwise it's like $500 full. Well, it depends on your windshield. For your little windshield, it might only be like $250, $350.
Might be worth just replacing then if I don't have to look at that thing.
Not for me. I'm gonna you tell me you pay $80 or $350, I will give you $80 if I never have to worry about that.
You're always seeing it though. It's always on your mind.
You're right. Like I see it all the time,
always on my mind.
And it never gets bigger. So I see it all the time.
Just like Willie Nelson.
Just like Willie Nelson.
Same size,
always getting higher.
Yeah, it's true.
Always getting higher. All right, Adam. I think it's time for the Mount Rushmore this week. And I got to tell you, dude, you did a heck of a job.
Oh, thank you.
This was a phenomenal Mount Rushmore. The Mount Rushmore this week that Adam chose was the Mount Rushmore of double play combos.
Mm-hmm.
Going back and looking at these, so there's a lot of stuff. I watched the Prime 9. MLB always does Prime 9. I watched a video on that. That was probably the best one that I saw. That they really got into Gold Gloves and all the different things. But I didn't realize how many really unbelievable fielders that I've never heard of are.
Yeah.
So it's all about defense, right? This is not like taking, like they said at the beginning of that show, it's not like taking, Robbie Cano and Derek Jeter and, the only combo to ever have 200, both have 200 hits in a season. That's not what it's about. You got to be a defensive specialist. You got to be a glove. Ozzie Smith never really played with anybody that was a great glove. Yeah. Lark never really could you imagine Larkin and Phillips? Oh my God. Larkin and Phillips would be on this list.
Yeah, I would say so.
100% would be on this list for the amount of Gold Gloves that they both had. Well, Larkin didn't have nearly as many because he played with Ozzie Smith.
3, I think.
Yeah. I mean, well, when you play with the Wizard, it's hard to get a bunch of them.
Yep.
Just
like all the guys that didn't win championships in the 90s in the NBA.
Yep. That's exactly right.
Played in the Jordan era.
Sorry for you. Unless you were Hakeem.
Yeah.
You're the only one that got any.
And you got your 2 when he was playing baseball. So
yep. So there's a lot of these that are fun. Like you've heard of Tinker and Evers before, because of the way they make them out to be like they're the greatest of all time. Like there's nothing better than the Tinkers ever. Well, they're not on my Mount Rushmore. If I'm putting them on my Mount Rushmore, then it's going to be people that I know or have heard of.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So okay. I'll let you go first.
No, you go ahead.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right. you go first.
All right. So I think one that we will definitely both have together is Robbie Alomar and Omar Vizquel. I didn't realize how incredible Robbie Alomar really was defensively. He had like 8 Gold Gloves before he got to Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
And then he played with maybe the greatest defensive shortstop in the history of baseball.
Yeah.
In Omar Vizquel. That right there was an easy number 1 for me. The other one that I really liked was where would that one go? Here you go. The Luis Aparicio and Nelly Fox. Mm-hmm. So both are Hall of Famers. Both are guys that if you go back into record books and look at different records, I remember when I was a kid, I was huge on Major League Baseball records and old Hall of Famers. I used to read so much. I didn't read much, but if I read, it was about that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Get into that stuff all the time. And those two stood out incredibly. Like Nelly Fox and Luis Aparicio at the exact same time when they were together led both led their positions in putouts and did all different and had gold gloves for like, I think out of the 10 years, they both got a gold glove together like 6 times or something stupid like that. Like that's how a lot of these double play combos are. They both had gold gloves going for a certain amount of time. Number 3 is the one. My number 3 is a fun one because everybody loves Alan Trammell. Those old Sparky Anderson, Detroit Tigers. I didn't realize how long they played together. They played 13 years together, and they played together in the minors. Sweet Lou Whitaker and Alan Trammell. Mm-hmm. Both of them came up as defensive players, and knew each other like the back of their hand, dude. So,
and they were both pretty good offensively too.
Very good offensively. Yes, very good. Very, very good offensively. And then, of course, man, got to go with the Redlegs. Got to go with Davey and Joe. Davey and Joe did it for 6 or 7 years. And Dave Concepcion, if you ever talk to Omar Vizquel, speaking of the greatest shortstop of all time, his idol was Dave Concepcion. Dave Concepcion is probably top 10 of Major League Baseball players that should be in the Hall of Fame.
Sure.
The defense up the middle for the Cincinnati Reds in those years, when you start with Johnny Bench and you go to Morgan and Concepcion, and then you go to Cesar Geronimo, I would love to know if we'll just say a 3 or 4 year span, right? Doesn't have to be however long Joe was there, 5 years or whatever, when they all played together. Just any 3 year span. I guarantee there's no other middle defense that got as many gold gloves as those guys did.
No way.
It's insane how incredible those guys were. So that's my 4. There's a lot of other really good ones out there. I didn't realize Bill Mazeroski was a defensive superstar. I mean, you know him all about the shot heard around the world, but I didn't realize he was one of the greatest second basemen of all time. So those are my 4 that I'm going to take.
Good calls, because I have 3 of the same.
Nice. I can't wait to hear who your 4th is then.
We mentioned Vizquel and Alomar were an easy.
We knew that
1.
easy. Yeah.
Concepcion and Morgan were an easy number 2 for me.
Yeah.
And then I loved reading about Alan Trammell and Lou Whitaker. I didn't remember that.
I did 13 or 14 years together.
And how good they were both on both sides. They were both good hitters, and they both were outstanding defensive players.
They both, there was one year they both won a Silver Slugger for their position, and a Gold Glove for their position in the same year.
That's awesome. I was looking kind of for guys that were both in the Hall of Fame. That weighed a little bit to me.
Okay.
So like Pee Wee Reese and Jackie Robinson.
Dude, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Is that who you took?
No, it's not. Okay. But
because Pee Wee Reese is one of my favorite players of all time,
and Jackie Robinson is one of almost everybody's favorite players.
Sure, he's probably one of the most athletic baseball player. He was the Bo Jackson way before Bo Jackson.
Yeah, and he didn't play a ton at second base, so it was a little bit harder there. He played some at second, but he also played first, and he played some outfield and stuff like that. So I didn't put him on there. It was like you said, it was crazy to think how good Ozzie Smith is, and he didn't have a second baseman. That Tommy Herr is the one that I saw a couple of times.
In a couple different lists they had him on there, but when you go back and look at Tommy Herr, he wasn't what these other second basemen were.
Right. I wanted to try to get a more contemporary one a little closer to this era. The one that I saw the Jeter and Robinson Cano thing,
but that's not a great double play combo. That's just two really good. They're not even great. Robbie Cano you don't think Robbie Cano is a great defensive player? I don't. Does he even have a Gold Glove?
I'm not even sure.
Derek Jeter never won a Gold Glove. He was
such a good offensive player for a while that maybe it overshadowed his defensive prowess anyway. But I didn't really even look at this as it's only defense.
That's how I looked at it.
I sort of was willing to let some of the offensive stuff in, just like they do when they decide who wins Gold Gloves.
Yeah. It's 100% true.
But I did go ahead and take, because of all the stuff, all the lists I looked at, Joe Tinker and Johnny Evers for the Cubs in the early 1900s or whatever. Yeah. I mean, they made a poem about him. They made a song about it. Like Tinker to Evers, the chance.
Did you see the coolest part about that? Did you watch the Prime 9? Did you watch that thing?
I didn't watch it.
Right, so the coolest thing about that whole deal is they played together forever. They held the record for whatever for putouts together or something. The records they have are insane. And never talked to each other off the field.
They didn't like each other.
They didn't like each other. They had some kind of argument early in their career and never talked to each other off the field.
That's crazy to me. That's so weird. But it goes to show you that you don't have to. I mean, I think it helps. I think if you get along with the guys that you play with outside of or in the locker room or outside of baseball or basketball or whatever, I think it definitely helps on the field.
Absolutely.
You don't have to, though.
Nope.
You can. There's been a rumor for years and years and years. Maybe it's a little true, maybe it's not, that Johnny Bench and Pete Rose didn't love each other.
No, well, that's not a rumor. There was a period of time. No, they are much better now. There was a period of time where they did not. They didn't talk.
Yeah. There you go. I mean, two of the greatest players ever. Period. You know. On the same team that won 2 championships together. So I did find that the most interesting thing that I read about those guys. Exactly what you said there. Yeah. So anyway, that's my 4. So double play combos. There you have it.
Did they win 2 championships together or did they win 3 championships together?
The Reds?
Didn't they win in 72?
No, 75 and 76.
So was it 70 or 72? 70 was against the Orioles.
72 was against
and
the
that
A's.
Was enough. Right, 72 was the A's. That was Gene Tennis in the A's. That's right. So 70, that's another one right there. There was a double play combo for the Orioles, and I can't remember who they were. I didn't write them down, but they were the same way. They played together for 4 years. And they both won Gold Gloves at their positions those 4 years, both of them. And I was supposed to be insane.
And then how about maybe the best defensive player period ever over at third base? How about that infield?
Exactly. Brooks Robinson and those two. I know it. It's insane.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, how did they not win more championships?
I think these guys were actually like 70. I think it was like 74 to 77. They played together. Or 73 to 77. So they weren't together on that World Series team, but they might have been together on that second one. They were together for a little. But yeah, Brooks Robinson would have still probably been there at that time.
Yeah.
Brooks Robinson. I feel bad for Johnny Bench that year. Dude smoked. He stole 5 hits from Johnny Bench. Speaking of that, I got a little kid on the team, man. This little dude, he's catcher, right? He catches for me, and
respect all.
Loves catching, just like he. Fully embraces catching to a point where he's already he has shaved a mullet into his head. It's like and he got it permed at 9 years old, and because that's what you see all these catchers in college and everything, they got these. It's like it really just looks like the thick mohawk, the wide mohawk, but they call it a mullet, and they perm it, and super curly hair with that haircut, and he fully embraces it all. They did for his school, they did one of their projects they did this year was a wax museum. Mm-hmm. So you be a famous person and then you stand there and then you say your little spiel about who you are. And he chose Johnny Bench.
Yeah.
He used the catcher's equipment for the team. I let him take it. He took it to school. And my dad has an old Johnny Bench sign, the inside, the gloves have the signatures on the inside. Johnny Bench catcher's mitt, and let him use that. So he got to be cool. Johnny Bench at the thing. It's pretty cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
For a kid, for a young kid, to do that for a guy that played in the 70s. That's very cool.
Little Landon.
Something else. Now he's my second favorite
player on our team. Besides Parker. There you go. He caught Parker. He caught Parker's 2 innings you saw.
Oh, there you
Parker's 2 shutout innings that he threw.
Oh, my favorite little league battery in the world right now. All right. We've got to go on. Speaking of former athletes, let's go on to our comedy here. Where are we at? 6 hours?
Oh, we're not even close. I thought as much as we talked about Kim Kardashian, we'd be at like 2 hours by now. We're just a hair over an hour, man. We got some time.
You guys are so welcome for that Kim Kardashian conversation.
Listen, you know why it didn't last longer? Because you refused to give in. You refused to play along. You did not.
I played along for a while.
You gave me a good 3 minutes.
That's about 2 minutes and 58 seconds longer than I wanted to. All right.
I know that's true. That is 100% correct. But I did get you there for a second. I got you.
You got me hooked for a minute.
I got you hooked. I got you to where you were responding.
Yeah. Yep. Until I had nothing left in the tank. I just had nothing left. All right. But anyway.
Hey, speaking of nothing left in the tank.
Yeah.
I do want to send a shout out to the old Burger Bros real quick. They will be at Delhi Liquor Store Saturday, underneath where they got their little tap room down there. The tap room at Delhi Liquor Store, slanging burgers. Huge fans of the podcast, have been on the podcast. The last podcast before the virus hit, slinging burgers for me. So, because Adam might have had Corona at the time.
I might have had my first version of the Corona.
Yep.
It's so weird to call it Corona now.
Yeah.
Anyway, Chris DiStefano.
Chris DiStefano's Special Weshy. Can I tell you my favorite part about this?
Yes, please.
This special was when he started talking about older generations. And he said, if you're an older guy from the 70s or 80s or whatever, that you are, I can't remember exactly how he said it, but he was talking about being gay. Like if you were gay, you either came out or you kept it inside. I can't remember exactly what it was, but then he started saying, when my dad dies, then I'll be able to start saying, I might be like 90% gay, like actually, or I might be 70% gay. You know what? I might be 85. I could be creeping around 90. I was cracking up at that because when I first saw this dude, I thought he was, by his mannerisms and the way he talks. I thought that maybe he did. I thought maybe he was playing for the other team. Or both teams, maybe it's both teams. I don't know how to say that. It's just a different team for me. I'm not saying it's the wrong team. I'm just saying it's a different team. Don't cancel me here.
Oh, a little defensive there, huh? Okay.
Yeah, I just don't want to get canceled. I've had listen, off the podcast. I've got some stories that happened today where I'm trying not to get canceled. All right,
today.
Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you this one. Yeah, forgot to tell you.
You want to tell it?
Nah.
Okay. All right.
Nope.
We'll save that.
Sure do not.
We'll save that for after we hit stop.
That's the if you want to get on the After Hours podcast, that's
it's our Patreon.
You can jump on the nosebleedsportspodcast.com, click on that. That's that you have to subscribe and pay for.
Yeah, that's right. All right. So speaking of people who say silly things because you already started talking about it, Chris DiStefano, he's been doing those jokes about his dad and how his dad is one of those guys.
I love it.
From an old New York guy, was very rough around the edges. He's told a story, I think on another special, but he's told it several times before about how his dad was involved and had friends involved in organized crime, and the mob or whatever, and Chris got expelled or something from school at one time, and his dad went in there and he basically told the principal, "You're going to let him back in." And the principal's like, no, he's not coming back in. And he's like, "Chris, go lock the door." Go lock the principal's office door. And the principal let him back in.
This dude sounds so great. I know that he's blowing all this stuff way out of proportion, but I'm sure there's enough of it that's true that he can build on. The floor seat story where he takes his, I'm sure the taking the shoe off and having his bare foot on Madison Square Gardens was probably the embellishment part, but I totally believe the rest of all of that story.
He told Bill Collins he's gay or something like that.
He definitely smokes.
Yeah.
Hey, when you go back home, what do they call you in the house? When the family's around, what do they call you in the house? They call you Philip. Philip. Yeah, this guy smokes.
That was one of the funniest parts. Here was the hard part of this whole special for me. I've heard most of these jokes already. I saw him live New Year's Eve. I also watched 2 podcasts that he's on every week. I've heard most of this stuff before, and even just the theme of a lot of these jokes and all the stuff that he does about his girlfriend and his kids being Puerto Rican and all the stuff that comes along with that, and his Puerto Rican women or Latino women looking through phones, being the best at looking through
great
phones.
CIA should be
AOC should be the head of the CIA or whatever.
So
anyway, that was the hard part for me, is most of this I've heard.
That's got to be tough for these guys, because when you're out on the road and you've got podcasts that you do every week, you're doing shows 4 days a week, sometimes more, probably getting that specific material ready for your next special. That's all you're talking about all day, every day. When you get to the podcast, it's got to be the thing that's constantly coming out of your mouth, because you're always working on it, right?
Yeah.
Like in your head, you're even working on it there on the podcast with a friend listening. You're still working. So that's got to be tough for people because I don't listen to podcasts. I don't listen to any podcasts. And so
I know I've wanted to do the Mount Rushmore podcast for a long time, but I
can't. I would 100% do the Mount Rushmore podcast with you. I'll force I have.
You just find the best titles.
Hold on a second. Have I listened to 4 different podcasts? I've listened to 3 that I know. I've listened to 3 different podcasts. I've listened to a Joe Rogan podcast before. Those are hard, by the way, because they're long.
They're so long.
There's a lot of smart people that talk crazy on them. So I watch the ones with comedians. Those are usually way better. So the Ron White one, there was a couple of them, but one of the Ron White ones was really good. Anyway, Joe Rogan, I've listened to a couple of his podcasts. I've listened to our podcast before. And I've listened to a podcast called Chasing Scratch.
Okay.
Which is a couple guys trying to, they're trying to become scratch golfers.
Oh, okay. Not what I was expecting.
Yeah. Oh, like scratch, chasing
Money.
Scratch. Yo, gotta get that scratch, baby.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
That's what I thought.
Get that green.
I thought it was just like, a financial podcast.
Gotcha. No. Chasing Scratch is a golf podcast.
Okay. Nice. So you've listened to 3 podcasts.
Yeah, I could do a Mount Rushmore, I guess, and I could just come up with a 4th.
No. No, I haven't done it because I know you haven't. I'm not going to make you do that. Okay. So
I made you do the Mount Rushmore of zoo animals.
I've been to the zoo a million times in my life. I can do that. No problem. Do you have anything? I think I kind of cut you off. You were going fine on the Chris DiStefano thing. Was there anything any jokes, anything, his demeanor, anything about how he delivered or anything like that?
He always seems like he's on a little bit of cocaine. He's always got a little cocaine looking on him. And the fact that he had 6 martinis before the special to slow him down a little bit tells me like this dude's always coked out.
He's jittery.
He's very jittery, and I don't know if it's anxiety or if that's just who he is or it's just normal or what it is. But the first special threw me off with it because it felt like he had no timing. Like everything was so quick, and he just threw it out. This was totally different. I felt like this was way different. I felt maybe it's because I've heard him before and I've seen more of his stuff, so you kind of get the feel for the flow a little bit differently. I don't know if that's it or if he really did slow himself down enough for me to not notice it as much. Because I felt like there were more pauses and correct pauses and to let the joke settle before the punchline came in.
Yeah. He's becoming a better comedian.
Sure. So I'll tell you this though, one of the things I loved is how he hated on Netflix the entire time. Talked about this show, The Beast or something like that he was on, which by the way, holy cow, that's hilarious. He gets fired and then the dude from China ends up tweeting out the when he fell. That was hilarious. And then at the very end of the special when he's like, you know what? I really want to thank every one of you guys. Thank you. I tried to get this on HBO and Netflix and a couple others. And Nobody wanted it, so it's going to be on YouTube. You're all going to be on YouTube. Get on YouTube. I don't know when it'll be out, but it'll be out, and you guys can see it on YouTube. And as he's walking away, he goes, unless Netflix wants to buy it, then I'll sell it to them.
And they did.
And they did.
One of the, I wrote down two of the jokes.
Okay.
One of them was the one you just mentioned when he's on the show, and there's it's water, but they're supposed to call it the something blood or some kind of blood.
No, it was I can't remember something.
It's the Chinese guy.
The second day he was like, yeah, I'm done with that. I'm not calling it that anymore. I just make the decision is I'm not calling that anymore.
So he said he fell into the duck sauce. That was very funny to me. And then one of the other dad stories was just when it was just a small part of it, but he called and they saw Steven Tyler somewhere and he said, hey, Bon Jovi.
What's this piano man doing over here?
That part was funny.
He was blotting his pizza.
Yeah, that's what it was. With a napkin.
Hey, don't do that. Hey, you don't do that.
Telling Steven Tyler how to eat his pizza.
I want to meet this dude's dad so bad.
Have you ever seen him?
No.
See, so he's like in his mid-70s now or something like that. He's getting old.
Yeah.
And if you see him, he's been on his Chrissy Chaos podcast a bunch of times. And so he doesn't seem nearly like Chris has joked about him for years.
Sure.
You know? Because he's just like an older guy now.
He sounds like an old dude.
Yeah. But I guess, I'm sure when he was a little younger.
And it's a lot, you have to take something your dad says and blow it up in order to make it good enough to be on, right? So there's a lot of stuff's always going to be blown up anyway.
Yeah. Chris, what do you give Speshy Weshy? Boy, I hate saying that.
See, I think he loves saying it.
He loves it. He says stuff like that all the time.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. I liked it. I really did. I really liked it. I laughed. I was consistently smiling or laughing through it. It was better than I thought it was gonna be.
Oh,
I didn't know. I picked it. I know, but I wasn't sure how I was gonna like this. Okay. I give it a 4.3. I thought it was really good.
Wow.
I thought I think it was just because I remember last one I didn't score very well. And I think this one was much, much better.
Good. I'm glad you liked it. I kind of mentioned it before. Probably not fair to him, but I've heard a lot of this stuff before. I was kind of hoping to hear some different type of jokes, maybe.
Yeah.
He talks about a lot of the same stuff, and I just overexposed myself to him.
Yeah.
But I think for that reason, I wasn't laughing super hard through the thing. So I gave it a 3.
Wow.
Gave it a 3.
Man, we were way off on this one.
Pretty off on this one. Yeah.
Wow. That's insane.
Yeah.
All right. That being said, what's your next one going to be? What are we going to go with for the next comedy special for this coming week?
Lots of choices still. There are more. Your boy just came out with one in the last couple of days. I'm really interested. I watched the trailer. So did I.
And the chicken wing joke didn't hit like I think he thought it should.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel bad that was the trailer. And if that's the trailer, I don't know what the rest is going to be like. Look, you know how much I love Cat Williams, man. I love that dude until that day we saw him, and it totally turned me off. And I still, when I hear his old jokes and stuff on Comedy Central, I laugh so hard. One of my favorite jokes is Peripheral. When he starts talking about Peripheral, and some brothers think that's a car. Yeah, you driving that Peripheral? Don't give me sympathy laughs. That was a Cat Williams sympathy laugh, I guess.
That was a Cat Williams sympathy laugh. I'm gonna go with somebody that I thought you were gonna do this one last week. I'm doing it this week.
Okay.
Christina P. Mom Jeans
on
Netflix.
I saw the trailer for this one too.
So did I.
After Speshy Weshy, that was a pretty. You can tell she's been doing this for a while. Seems like she's been doing this for a while because her timing and then her change of tone dramatically and stuff to really push that point across was This guy, I got a feeling this is going to be really good.
Yeah, she's like a professional speaker. I mean, I guess that's what comedians are, but
Sure.
she really has a gift for it, I think. And I'm gonna say I haven't seen much of her stand up. I've watched their podcast. She and Tom do a podcast together called Your Mom's House. Tom Segura.
Is that his wife?
His wife, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No idea.
So it's a really popular podcast. It's really, really good. It's funny, and they have comedians on all the time. They do 2.5, 3 hours themselves all the time.
Oh, really?
So and they watch videos of insane people talking about insane things, and it's all real raunchy and dirty and stuff.
Nice.
But it's very funny, and she's funny, but Tom honestly sort of makes her seem not funny at all because he's just so funny all the time.
He's so crazy. He hasn't had one for a while, since the balls or whatever that one was. But that dude's
ball hog.
That was really good.
Let's go, Christina P.
All right, that sounds good.
You have got a Mount Rushmore.
I do.
For next week,
I am going to go with that Mount Rushmore of double play combos was legit.
Thank you. Did it inspire anything?
It did. I don't know how to say it though.
Okay.
So let's go with
try with your mouth.
I'll give it a try. So not my nose. Okay.
Get your nose into it a little bit.
My nose is always.
You can do it. Get your back into it.
I can do it. Put your nose into it. I'm going to go with the Mount Rushmore. I guess this is okay. The Mount Rushmore of Major League Baseball base stealers.
Yeah. Base stealers. All right.
So, Drew Stubbs, Billy Hamilton, the whole nine for you. Drew Stubbs. You remember Drew Stubbs?
Of course I remember.
He was fast as lightning.
He was.
And he didn't look like he should be fast.
Couldn't hit at all.
I mean, he hit better than Billy Hamilton did.
I don't know. Did he?
Pretty sure he definitely did. I bet he hit 225. Billy Hamilton hadn't seen 225 since he was in the minors. Billy Hamilton hadn't seen 225 since he left his ex-old lady.
But he stole 225 bases as well. So in the minors,
there's a reason those two didn't go very far.
All right, base stealers. I love it. I love that part of the game. I was talking to my friend the other day, a couple weeks ago. We were at the Elder Moeller game together. Yeah. That really good game that they played down at UC, and we were talking about stuff like that. They still play those two teams, GCL baseball and probably high school baseball all over the place. Still, lays down sack bunts and does the small ball stuff. And we were talking about how we miss that in baseball, and we miss people stealing. It's one of the most exciting plays. They say the triple is the most exciting play in baseball. The steal, the attempted stolen base is right up there with it, I think.
They're trying. Major League Baseball wants to bring it back. I mean, they are trying out a rule in the minors where the base is like 2 inches big. Well, 4 inches bigger, I guess. Yeah. 2 inches bigger all the way around. So it's 4 inches bigger square, or I don't know how to explain that. So I mean, and that is specifically for the reason of, all right, man, there you go. That's an extra 2 inches. You know what I mean? I can't imagine any other reason they would want to do that except for to try to help with the stolen base.
I guess I thought it was maybe a safety thing, like covering the base so that there's more room for a runner to run, especially at first, maybe to run through, and a guy to have his foot on the bag or something like that. I don't know, but that may be the case too. But it's going to come down to the mathematicians that work in the front office, whether they think it makes sense to start stealing bases again or swing away, But very exciting. I love is egotistical as the guy was. It's hard not to look at Ricky Henderson's numbers
and just go, wow.
Yeah. It just great. I mean,
some people are just different. They're different.
Mm-hmm.
And usually people that are different, at what they do, that are just head over heels better than anyone else that's ever done it. Usually those people that attention to detail, that whatever's in your head, you lose something else of normality. And those people aren't always 100% stable, I guess, and maybe it's not the right word, but they're just a little different.
It reminds me of Floyd Mayweather. I cannot stand the guy. I can't stand how he talks, how he acts. I want to watch every single Floyd Mayweather fight.
The dude is incredible at what he does with his hands. He is as fast as, you know who else is really fun to watch when it comes to fast hands and stuff? This dude, he's all, once again, young kid, taking an opportunity, making a little extra cash. He's all over the social media. Ryan Garcia.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan Garcia. He's all over social media. He's always doing, he just did a commercial with
one of the brothers, right?
Damian Lillard, a Gatorade commercial with Damian Lillard, and they're sparring and stuff. Yeah. And, you know, that's all over. You can see all the stuff before and everything, but he does these things with these TikTok stars or whatever, where they put the big vest on, and he just starts punching them in that padded thing until they can't take it anymore. And it's one of the funniest things in the world to see these, what do you want to call them? I don't know. Highfalutin ding dong lookers. Yeah. What do you call people that look all fancy?
Oh,
fancy wansies.
Sure.
Fancy wansies.
Chris DiStefano, that's what you call him.
Anyway, Ryan Garcia is a lot like that. Dude is so incredible. His hands are so fast. He doesn't have the head movement of Floyd Mayweather, which is another thing. Yeah, you can't touch Floyd. You can't touch Floyd. Yeah. If Floyd doesn't want you to touch him, you ain't going to touch him.
If you do, you're hitting his shoulder.
Yeah, you're hitting his shoulder.
Yeah,
exactly. You ain't hurting him.
Right. So anyway, Ricky Henderson sort of reminds me of him in that way. No.
Man, I can get off on a tangent quick.
So can I. Trust me. But anyway, it's just to go back and look at Ricky Henderson's numbers and just see stolen bases in the 100s for he and Vince Coleman and Lou Brock and those guys. I'm like, oh my God. And even as recently,
Maury Wills and
Billy Hamilton had a year in the minors. So he had like 104 or 106 or something like that stolen bases in a year. So crazy.
Did I ever tell you my Maury Wills story?
I don't know.
So I worked at US Bank. This can't be legal. What I'm about to do.
HIPAA violation.
What are they? I mean, it's not. Violation. We're not. It's not a hospital. It was a bank. They can't fire me, right?
No, they can't. You don't work there.
Dude calls up. It's like Maurice Wills, and old guy calling me, and he's in San Francisco. It was one of the years San Francisco when they had their every other year championship that they went through, and he calls up and he goes, "I'm looking to see if there's been a deduction from the San Francisco Giants," and I was like, "Yeah." I was like, he goes, "Oh, okay, just making sure that they got my World Series tickets for me." And I look at this thing and I was like, "Is this Maury Wills?" And he is like, "Yeah." And I said, "Oh my God, you're one of the greatest base stealers to ever live." I start I can't help but fanboy it, right? And he goes, "I'll tell you what, I don't know if you're allowed to do it or not, but if my phone number's in my bio, you go ahead and take it down. You ever come to California, you give me a call anytime and I'll get you tickets to a Dodgers game or a San Francisco game anytime you want." God. It was the coolest. I wrote it down.
I feel like you had to have told me that at some point.
I wrote it down and hung it on my fridge. It was there forever. I was scared to death to ever call it or do anything like that. But I 100% took that number down.
Amazing.
It was one of the, I get cold chills right now talking about it. I sat and had a conversation.
All over your wounds.
All over my dog wounds that I got. But yeah, it was one of the coolest things that ever happened. Yeah. At one point in his life was the stolen base record holder until Lou Brock beat him.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yep.
Brush with greatness there.
That's right. Yeah.
So
and
cool.
he was totally cool. I was like, "Oh my gosh, man." And he was like, "You and your dad ever get out?" I mean, we talked. It was 20 minutes. I was on the phone forever. We weren't supposed to be on the phone long with people. Of course, that was my biggest down.
I gotta keep this guy on the phone as long as I can.
I mean, I did that anyway with old people when they got on the phone. I can't not talk to people. You want to talk to me? I can't shut you. I'm not shutting you down. I'm letting you go. And I'd always get in trouble at US Bank for that because they want you like 60 seconds max phone calls, get them in, get them out. Dude, I'm on phones for 15, 20 minutes sometimes. bull crapping with the people. You know what I mean?
You were willing to risk your job for a kind of long
1,000%. Well, I just remember looking at it like, holy crap. Do you think? And I just asked him, and he was like, yeah. And I said that, and he's like, yeah, because right there, I mean, there it was. And he was getting paid by the Giants as well. He worked in their front office. So he had deposits coming in from the Giants. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe he was looking for a deposit instead of a deduction. I can't remember, but whatever it was. Yeah, I remember he was working in the Giants front office at the time.
Can you imagine not being able to just log in yourself to a ledger of your transactions?
Oh, dude,
you have to call somebody.
When I worked at US Bank, this is going back almost 15 years. Right. When I worked at US Bank, God, it's been that long. Yeah. And it was still unheard of not to be able to do that. So the only people I talked to were old people, man. It was nothing but when I worked third shift there, I'd talk to the exact same people every night. Every night, little old lady call up. Can you tell me the check numbers that went through and how much they were for? And I click on every check that came through that night. Let her know which ones came through. She could get on her little book and make sure she was good.
That's it. I see here on the memo line. This is $20 for your grandson's birthday.
Yep.
Happy birthday to grandson.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I had we had a lady that would call in. Her name was the same way every night, but she wasn't asking for deductions. She wanted to know deposits that were put in. And it was a business account. And I can't remember what the business was called, but her name was Madam something.
Oh.
And every single morning at, 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, she would call in and ask for the deposits. What were the deposits that were made last night or yesterday? Every single day. I remember going, I am 100% talking to someone who is running a whorehouse. Or she's a pimp or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's not the first thing you would have thought when you see her name was like Madam Sylvia or something like that.
No.
I'm like, and she just wants to know deposits that are coming in and all the and they're just a ton of different, every deposit slip had a woman's name on it, like every single one. I was like, man, this is way too, something's going on over here.
Massage parlor owner,
something.
See, I thought like Great Gatsby, rich, like fancy name, fancy person.
No. She was like, they were all like, $250, $310, $400, $150, $310. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Might be onto something there.
Yeah, exactly. She'd call in every day. We had all kinds of. We had one lady that I could tell stories about calls like at US Bank.
I love these stories.
We had a lady that would call in. This is back when Rihanna was just getting big.
Okay.
And she would call in, and she had a whatever accent to her, and she said that she was Rihanna. She said Rihanna is trying to steal my identity. Rihanna is stealing she would call 3 days a week. Rihanna is stealing my identity. We need to have, you can see who I am on my profile. And her name was, I can't remember, but whatever it was. And she tried to talk to you forever. Like I've called the cops. I've been in touch with the FBI and all this other crazy stuff. Obviously she was a dingbat who would call at 2 o'clock in the morning, but it was 3-4 nights a week. This lady would call and I got her all the time.
I feel like you could have so much fun with that if you wanted to.
100%. I play into that 100%. I'm like, holy cow. I said, so can you sing or she steal your songs? No, she didn't steal my songs. She just stole my identity. And I'm like, I don't understand. I totally play into it. I let that girl go on forever. I'm gonna have to start thinking. I got hit on by a ton of old ladies.
Is that right?
Nice. Yeah, all the time. And I would hit right back to them. Baby. I get right back to them. You sound like just the most handsome little boy. I said, well, I might sound like a handsome boy, but I'm gonna tell you right now, you sound like one of the most beautiful women I've ever talked to.
Oh, jeez.
Love doing that.
I feel like nowadays that's immediate firing.
Oh, 100%. I probably should have been fired back then, but whatever. So it was after the downfall.
Making $8.50 an hour.
Exactly. Whatever. See you later. Adios. You'll find something else to do. Man, I'm gonna have to start thinking of some good stories. I had a bunch. There was always good stories. All right, I'm gonna come up with. I got another one, but I'm gonna save it for next week.
Okay.
I'll save it. We'll go U.S. Bank phone stories.
U.S. Bank walking stories. U.S. Bank stories. Nice.
Man, I just gave out like 3 or 4 of the best ones. What a bummer. That's all right. If I remember, I'll pop some more up. There was all kinds of fun ones. So overnight, when I worked third shift, dude, every night was a blast.
Speaking of having a blast, I just thought of this. I'm gonna tell you. We can talk about this next week, but I should have said something during the comedy thing. I'm seeing David Spade live this weekend.
Yes.
So we can, I'll discuss that with you next week.
I can't wait to hear all about that. That's going to be awesome. My sister sent me something today.
Oh.
She's going to possibly
get sisters send me something.
Get into some. She said she wanted to buy me tickets for Father's Day. Boys to Men, Saturday, August 20th. Are you going? Do you know anything about it?
No, where are they at?
Hard Rock Casino, Cincinnati, Ohio, baby.
Last time they were here, they were there. And my sister and I thought about going. My sister and I.
Yeah.
Speaking of sisters, I've been.
We need to make it a family affair. Let's all go.
Oh, dude, I would totally go. What, August 20th?
August 20th.
Man, I would totally go to that. Absolutely. And I also bought tickets tonight to see Bill Burr in Cincinnati at Heritage Bank Center.
Oh, nice.
That's
a big one. That'll be a big show.
October, big show.
I hope he fills that place up. It'd be kind of awkward to get get that whole joint and not everybody go. The good thing about Bill Burr is you get a good variety of people going to that show. That'd be a really fun show. That dude is hilarious.
He's funny for everybody.
Bill Burr is fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited about that.
All right. We've played around long enough.
Yeah.
Next week, we'll have some more conference finals of the NBA playoffs. We will have Christina P. comedy. We've got a Mount Rushmore of base Steelers. And so I guess until then, don't forget to turn your headlights on.